Uh, there's a lot to say. Excuse me. So it's better for me to just videotape it and I can get everything out than spend the time on a phone typing it all. Um, it's August the 12th, 9:30, 9:34, something like that. Uh, a couple of things. So they can smell. We know that. That's why today there was no skin cream available in the Save On Foods here, the type that I want. Everything was $10 or more. The reason they want that is because I have eczema still, and they hope if it's dry, I'll scratch it and it'll bleed and open up so they can smell me. Um, they can hear because they use sonar, um, but there's more things to it than that. What we learned today is that they can change shape. They have very little skeleton at all. They would have something, but the reason why these people don't want you to eat cheese or milk or any pasteurized products, yogurt, raw foods is because they don't want you to have calcium. Calcium, of course, is a solidifying agent. And calcium, like a cell wall, plants have cell walls which allow them to stand erect and not fall over. And mammals do not have cell walls. Similarly, um, these the calcium would naturally strengthen bones, make bones more healthy, more viscous, less breakable. Um, so if these creatures eat calcium in high amounts, then the existing bones they have will get stronger, and bones can grow, and you can regenerate bone tissue to a certain extent. Who knows, it could actually make more bone. So that's all very bad because then these things can't change shape. So the other thing, though, that's interesting, and I didn't mention this yet, is I did mention that I did see in Hope the creature with the deer-like leg. And what I said when I saw him behind a truck was, oh my God, don't tell me they brought that stupid deer thing here too. All of a sudden, when I went around the corner, it was only one man standing there. No one had come or gone behind that truck. There was only one man there. And he was a man. There was no leg, deer leg. It had morphed and changed into a human looking leg. But the funny thing was, I was sitting on a picnic bench, at a picnic table at the information center. He didn't know I was there, but when he heard me say about the stupid deer thing, he instantly changed his leg to a human leg. On Saturday night, I was recharging my phone at a gas station. It was like 11 or 12 at night, and a woman came and sat at the end of the gas station, like closer to the street. I was near where the door was. And she sat and she had this morose look on her face and just down and dreary. And she was kind of crying. And I thought, and when she walked over to sit down there, I said to myself, oh, fuck, here she comes, another freak. All of a sudden, I had a bite of a sandwich or something and a sip of milk or whatever I was drinking, coffee maybe, who knows. And by the time I had done that and looked up again, she was gone, completely gone. I didn't hear her go anywhere. She didn't come around the corner as I was expecting. She just flat out disappeared. What this tells me, and tonight I did capture part of this film about a squirrel. I love squirrels. The squirrel was eating a nut, and I took out my camera to start videotaping it, and it ran behind a tree. And I think squirrels are cute, and I follow them around trees and whatnot. So I looked around the tree, and I couldn't see the squirrel, and I thought that little bugger is hiding and moving on the opposite side of the tree from where I'm looking. And I looked around one side and looked around another, but not fully around. And of course, what happened most likely is that the squirrel, if it was the real squirrel, just when I was at one angle, it ran behind another tree out of my line of sight. Or just, well, this is just not logical, but who knows here, it just disappeared. Now, the thing where I'm going with this is that squirrel, I thought to myself, geez, it's like that squirrel became invisible. And I thought the squirrel's eating a peanut or an acorn. And that's one of the good food groups because it's raw. You want raw vegetables, raw. Like they could be cooked or something, but I mean, they want something that's not processed food or meat or something. So where that's going is the squirrel became invisible to me, and it triggered in my mind. Ever since I've started this diet, and days when I really overblowed with this diet, within a day or two can see changes. What's happened now is suddenly twice in a 2-week period compared to a 3-year period, twice now, these things have not been able to see me. When I spoke, they then reacted, but they couldn't see me. So interestingly enough, this diet, not only improves my ability to see detail far away and definition and spatial relationships, it allows me to see evil and ghosts, not ghosts, but evil spirits, but it also allows me to become invisible somehow. Somehow all this calcium, and there could be other things going on, is making it that they can't see it. This diet is doing something to me that they can't see. Remember, bats are blind. They use sonar so that they can find their prey and everything. Just like these things. They're almost blind. If you eat this diet, they're almost blind. You're almost blind. Now, I don't know how blind. But see, the first incident with the deer-legged guy was in the bright sunshine of the day. And this incident, most recently on Saturday night, was at night. So it doesn't seem to make a difference so much between night and day, as much as the fact that you're invisible to them. That's why I was on a bus and I pointed out to a guy, Burrard Inlet and the mountains across from it in Vancouver, and I pointed out, it looks beautiful, doesn't it? And he said, what? And I said, the mountains there. And he said, oh yeah, like the thought of mountains being there had never seemed to cross this dude's mind, much less whether there was beauty or there. That's because he can't really see them. He can see shapes, but he couldn't really see fuck all with these mountains. That's what they were trying to do with me by not letting me eat calcium or tell me what the diet was and infecting the water and meat with their pathogen. They were trying to make me have sight like them, which means very weak sight. So, of course, all of this is going on in my head. So what do the bastards do? They steal $10 from me. They start clanging shopping carts. They have someone bark and yell at me. And it's all like so fucking last year. We know this, dudes. You want me to not think about what I'm thinking about, so you're trying to make me sad or angry or pissed off. So I focus all my energy on useless shit instead of the fact that you can't see me. If I continue this diet and only do cheeses and dairy and protein and calcium, it could reach a point where you can't see me at all. And I'm wondering if the chicken-legged or the deer-legged dude, I'll be able to see him better whether or not he can do his little magic to make himself look like a human or not. So, interesting. Unlike them, where nothing has changed from day one, They do the same routine, the same process, the same process, the same process, the same process, hour after hour, hour after hour, hour after hour. They haven't changed their playbook at all. The headlights don't mean anything to me, sister. They haven't changed their playbook at all. That's because they're insects. They have no cognitive brain. They have no problem solving skills. They're not like us at all. I can teach myself and learn. They can't do that. They don't understand what I'm talking about when I say this because they have no understanding of it. They have no experience with it. They might be able to possibly see that it exists, but they have no idea how to connect all the dots together. We can. Humans can do that because of our advanced brains. We can look at ourselves, analyze ourselves, figure out things about ourselves. See these two over here? They don't mean shit to me, but they were put there to distract me from what I'm thinking and just talking about to you. See, that's like day one. We're still on day one. Unlike humans, we can look at ourselves, we can analyze ourselves as objectively as we're able to at a time. We can see behaviors that are destructive or not useful or just wrong thinking. We can identify them and then we can teach ourselves how to fix that fault. Only humans can do this. No other creature on the planet is able to do this. We've been taught to look at ourselves as simpletons, that there's signs of better life across the universe. There's a more intelligent species somewhere out there. No, there isn't. We're it. No other species is even remotely as advanced as us. And of course, I will argue that's because of Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit, it's not hard to understand this. That's the Holy Spirit. That advanced brain, that emotional capacity, the problem-solving skills, the creativity, that is the Holy Spirit. It isn't Casper the Friendly Ghost like I used to joke to you about. That's it. That's what the Holy Spirit is. Oil is the lifeblood of the planet. The Holy Spirit is the lifeblood of the soul. Next topic. Hope is like Dawson Creek, and God forbid, not yet, but it's like Port Hardy too. What I mean by that is, and I'll compare this, I want to compare this to Winnipeg. Winnipeg is a city that is in deep grief and deep mourning. Not anger or hate, it's in extreme mourning. There's a lot of sadness there. There's a lot of death that has happened. But when I was in Winnipeg, I could feel hope. The people are horribly sad. They're grieving the loss of, who knows, thousands is conservative, probably tens of thousands. They're grieving. They have been massacred. They have been a target of bizarre human rights violations and genocide. But there's hope there. When I look at the First Nations people I met in Winnipeg, there's hope. In hope here, ironically, there is none. In Dawson Creek, there is none. And the people have given up on life. They have given up. The First Nations people in Winnipeg haven't given up. They're going through a normal, what a psychologist would say, a normal grieving process. They're, the acceptance and recognition and all of that, denial. They're going through those stages of grieving. They'll come out the other side because they have hope. Dawson Creek has no hope. Hope here has no hope whatsoever. It's given up on life. Port Hardy, pretty much the same thing. BC has been one of the worst hit provinces I've seen of all of them. I haven't been to Newfoundland, but BC is the worst. The evil that's here, the darkness, was so overwhelming, it's basically swamped almost everything. except the First Nations people. And I will argue with you, when I was in Whitehorse, I could see that the First Nations people very closely modeled their lives around the teachings of Christ. I know they can communicate with God. That is what gives them hope. That life that they have, that connection to God, is what allows them to face this horrible atrocity, but yet still have hope. These other communities didn't have that connection with God as strong, and they've given up on life. There's sadness and grief, but really there isn't even as much of that as there is in Winnipeg. They just have no emotion left at all. This town, the spirit of it, it's dead. It's given up on life. It's like it's committed suicide and it's gone forever. Winnipeg is not like that. Winnipeg, whoever is the leader of the country, the prime minister, that prime minister must spend an inordinate amount of time physically in Winnipeg and Manitoba. I don't want to see political bullshit or sound bites. I want to see a prime minister that spends a disproportionate amount of time and energy and money on the citizens of Manitoba, because they will capitalize on it and use it wisely, and they have suffered the worst of any of us. So that's my recommendation, and I'll be pounding my fist on the table. The next prime minister must spend not just political summer barbecues and holding babies for photo ops, must spend significant amounts of energy and time on the ground in Winnipeg and surrounding areas. It needs to be done. It needs to be done for honor and dignity. Those people deserve a good portion of the prime minister's attention. And it would be scandalous for any prime minister to ignore them. They have hope, but they need support. And they need to know that they're not alone and that better times will come. They have hope. There's great seeds there. In Dawson Creek, in Hope, and Port Hardy, there's not even any earth. The seeds would just blow away. So those are all the thoughts. It was better for me to put them on video, so I, like all of those, or else it would take forever to write this and I would forget something. This is just the biggest goddamn fucking jackass farce ever now. Like, they're not even fucking goddamn remotely human. I concluded that, but now, like, they can fucking change shape because they have no skeletons. They're like fucking chickens or something. They don't have cocks or vaginas. Like, what the fuck, asshole idiots? What the goddamn fuck? Get me the goddamn fuck out of this fucking shithole nightmare. It's such a jackass joke. It's a fucking jackass joke. This is just so seriously collapsing. I can feel the dominoes falling myself. They mocked me and mocked me and mocked me and mocked me and mocked me by having all these Domino's cars driving around. Well, yeah, if I eat cheese and calcium, the dominoes will start to fall. And sure as fuck they have, haven't they? The end is rapidly approaching, whether these buttfuckers want to agree with it or not. It's close. A couple of months I woke up in the morning and the first thought I had was, I can see the finish line. I knew an end was coming in sight. We're climaxing now, somewhere here. I'm not saying a week or a day, but I'm saying within a period of weeks, maybe tiny more, the whole fucking thing is falling apart. Like, I'm openly fucking laughing at them. And I mean, I look at them and I think, dude, you've got a hot body, but you've got no penis. You're really not a man. You could have the hottest looking Greek muscle god body, but if you haven't got a cock, you're really not a dude. Let's just kind of face this, okay? I go into recreation centers and I'm the only fucking person in the shower room. Nobody's taking a shower. That's because they don't have anything. It's like so ridiculous. At the YMCA, why was I not allowed to use the executive or the more elite fitting change rooms, with the towels and all that shit? It's because the people there probably complained, well, we can't have a shower now because there's a human there. I thought it was because they were being cunts. I always tell Clarice, fucking you, Clarice, is gravy. There's always something deeper underneath. Not letting me have a shower, not letting me use the sauna and hot tub and all that was gravy. The real thing is they didn't want me there because the other patrons were complaining because a human was going into the shower with them. What the fuck, assholes? Wake the fuck up.